Hi. So it's been 18 months since my last video, which I recorded in August 2019. HRT 1 year on. Wow, what's changed? What's stayed the same since then? I remain on HRT, same regime, so if you want to check that out, have a look at that video that I recorded in August 2019. But wow, so much has changed in the world. Obviously we are still in the pandemic, although I have had my first vaccination, which is great news. I've turned 50 in the last 18 months. That was pretty, I wouldn't say traumatic, although every decade I've always found quite difficult. When I turned 30, when I turned 40. I think turning 50 is quite a big one in terms of thinking about life ahead and life behind you. I am also managed to break my wrist in early September. You can see how wonky it is compared to the other one. Not sure you can see it very well, but it's got a nice lump in it now. And that's partly because I get quite a lot of knee pain. And we'd been doing a lot of walking. We were in the lakes when I broke it and I slipped over on some wet rocks. So yes, I have a wrist that doesn't function as well as it used to, particularly when I'm doing yoga, but I've learnt to adapt, as you have to. What else has changed? Our son moved in and moved out again over the lockdown period. And in terms of exercise, I am still doing yoga, meditation and running, but I've now added in quite a lot of weight work. So I'm doing kettlebells and resistance bands 2 or 3 times a week alongside running. Weight wise, my weight has gone up and down, up and down. I think this is a feature of reaching 50, of reaching middle age. It's so much harder to keep weight off now. So when lockdown originally started in March 2020, I got into terrible habits of having a big lunch every day, thinking it wouldn't be for very long. A year later, I'm still mainly working from home, although I am going in and out of schools as well. And I put on around 10 pounds, I reckon, between March and November 2020. So I've been trying to get rid of that ever since. I've now lost about 6 pounds. So I have another 4 or 5 to go to reach my pre-lockdown weight, but actually I want to go a little bit lower than that because it was already creeping up, and again that is the problem with our age, and that's why I've introduced weightlifting and resistance, because obviously losing muscle is something that happens as you get older, and muscle burns more calories. So if I want to carry on having my beer, my lovely beer at the weekends, or a glass of wine, going to have to increase my muscle mass. And also, you know, it's nice to feel strong. It's nice to increase muscle. And also another thing that's changed is I've started to look at supplements, anti-aging supplements, or supplements that increase health span. I've always taken turmeric. I've been drinking kefir every day for the last 2.5 years now. I've used fasting on and off. I was on the 5-2 diet for many years, and I now use intermittent fasting. I tend to use a 18-6 or a 16-8 regime for that. But I've also now introduced some supplements into my diet, food supplements, and these are mainly originally based on the book Lifespan, which you may or may not have heard of, but I think it's David Sinclair, who is a researcher in this area. And then I started following some YouTubers. I'll put links to their channels down below. And as a result of that research, and it is quite experimental still, there isn't really any human trials on some of these supplements, but I started taking NMN and TMG daily. Also did start taking resveratrol, stopped that and took pterosilbin, but I've recently also just stopped that, and I'm going to also take hyaluronic acid because I think that's going to help with knee pain. I'll maybe do a separate video in a bit more detail on the supplements that I do take. And I was taking berberine, but again have stopped that because the research is a bit up and down on that one, particularly when you do take it long term. I've also introduced collagen powder daily. Again, the research is a bit up and down on that one. I'm not entirely convinced that's doing any good, but certainly my research suggests that collagen in face creams isn't particularly useful, but it might be useful to supplement. So I've been doing lots to not prolong life, although I'd like to live forever, but more to increase a healthy lifespan. And I have to say, generally I am feeling really healthy and really well. Obviously I'm getting older, and one of the big things I've noticed over the last few years is my neck, how your neck looks older. But there's not much I can do about that unless I decide to have surgery, which is not something I don't think I would consider. So yeah, this is just an update to say HRT is still going well. I'm on exactly the same regime, and I've now added in other various supplements to try and stave off the ageing process. So let me know in the comments below how you've been, what you've been up to, or any questions you have about what I've been talking about in this video. Oh, and it's really important to note that I also still do regular meditation as well, and I do think that that's really important for my mental health. And I still do the outdoor swimming. I go at least once a week, maybe twice a week, and that's good for mental health. It's become very popular recently, but it's also just good for socialising and meeting other people. Obviously through lockdown I could only meet one other person, but that was still better than not meeting anybody. I think that's about it. Good to catch up with you all.